Hello, students, and welcome to our English class. Today, we are going to start a poem that is The Road Not Taken from your Beehive book, written by Robert Frost. Before moving further for something else, I think you can notice the picture given on the screen. Here, as the poem name suggests, the road not taken. So, definitely, here the poet is totally confused about which road he must choose. As you can see in the picture, there are two roads diverged in a yellow bird. So, now let's move further. Let's know something about the poet Robert Lee Frost. He was born on 26th March 1874 and was died on 29th of January 1963. He was an American poet. The picture you can see over here, right hand side. He is Robert Frost. His work was initially published in England before it was published in America. So, whatever the piece of writing he used to write, firstly it used to be published in England and then it used to be published in America. He was known for his realistic depictions of rural life. Basically, he was very famous for showing and projecting the rural lives of the poor people. So, that is the reason he was very much famous. Further. Now, before reading the poem, let's see the introduction of the poem. So, as the name of the poem is, The Road Not Taken is a well known poem by Robert Frost. So, definitely, The Road Not Taken is a very, very famous poem written by Robert Frost. It was published in the year 1916 as the first poem in the collection Mountain Interval. So, Mountain Interval is a collection of the book, which means I can say it as the collection of the poems, and it was the first poem which was introduced or published in year 1916 from this collection of Mountain Interval. What is the central message of this poem? So, its central theme is the divergence of the path. As you have seen in the beginning, there was a picture, and there the two roads were diverged into the yellow woods. So, these two roads are actually the two choices or the choices which we make in our life. So, the road not taken, the speaker wants to describe him or himself or herself as facing a choice between which of two roads to take. So, here basically the poet, with the help of the road, which symbolizes what it symbolizes the choices which we make in our life. And you know that whatever the choice we make in our life, that makes the great difference in the upcoming opportunities or the future choices. Now, here it's written the speaker's choice functions as an extended metaphor for all the choices that the speaker and all people must make in life. Why it is says that it is an extended metaphor? The reason is that because here the choices and the road is being compared together, which has no point of comparison, but still. Secondly, you might have noticed that as far as if we will take a road, definitely if you have entered in a particular direction, then that particular direction or that particular road will lead to some other roads, right? It will not end. So, in the same way, once you have taken a choice in your life, you have made a decision in your life, then now you cannot take a step back. And that decision, what you've taken in your life, is going to lead further to some more decisions which depends on it. So that also leads to the decision or the choices. Then, through the speaker's experience, the poem explores the nature of choices and what it means to be a person forced to choice. So, here the poet shares his experience with the help of this poem, and he tells about the nature of the choices, means how the choices comes in our life and how we, you can say it as, show our acceptance toward the choices, which choice you want to take, because all the choices you cannot go for, you have to take any one route. Like the poet is stuck between two roads and he has to go only one path. He can take at one time only one path, he cannot travel on both the roads. So he was in a big dilemma that which road he must choose, and if any of the road whatever he is going to choose will make all the difference in his life, because he knows that whatever the decision or the road he is going to take or the choice he is going to make, he won't be able to step back again, because the road leads to another road. So the choices in our life is also like that only. We we also need to make choices at one or the other point of the time, and it becomes very difficult that what to choose and what to drop. And sometimes people become very forced, and once you have taken any decision, that is going to lead to the another decision, right? So let's see how the poet has expressed his experience of making choices. So let's read the first stanza of this poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood and looked down as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. So, here, so as you can see over here in the poem, the two roads diverged in a yellow wood. So, the word diverged, which means separated and took a different direction. As you saw in the beginning, there was a picture where the two roads diverged. Diverged means separated into different directions. Now, yellow wood. Yellow wood is a forest with decomposing leaves. So, as far as this you have seen in the picture, that picture was showing that two roads were diverging definitely in two different directions, but the leaves of the trees were yellowish in color, or you can say it as oranges, just like orange color it was. And in which season it happens? Definitely it's the season of autumn. So in the autumn season, yellow wood we are talking about. So the woods means the trees were of yellowish color and the roads were diverted into two directions. Now the poet says, and sorry, I couldn't travel both. The poet is feeling very sorry that he cannot travel both the roads at one point of time. Now you also think that can you travel two roads at the same time? No, it is very difficult to travel two roads at the same time. Definitely at one time you can travel only one path. So he also says the same thing, and be one traveler, long I stood. So as he was the only single traveler, so he was just standing over there and was standing for a long time and looked down as far as I could. And he was standing at the center of those two diverted roads and was looking towards the roads as far as his eyes can go and can see the roads there till the point of time where it turns back. So he was looking and observing both the roads, which road he should go, to where it bent in the undergrowth. What is this undergrowth? Undergrowth is a dense growth of plants and bushes, means that is forest. So you know that the forest is used to be very dense, right? So the roads which are there in the forest used to be like definitely very narrow, first of all. Second thing is that not very clean, just like the roads you see on in your nearby cities and all. So that is the reason he says that he was looking towards the road till the moment he could see the roads very clearly. So here actually with the help of these two roads, the poet wants to tell us that he is now having two choices in his life which he has to make. Definitely he has to go for any one, and he says that he is very sorry, he's feeling very bad because he cannot travel both the roads, because he wanted to travel both the roads at the same time, and which is impossible. Because he, and even he also understand why it is impossible, because he's the only single person. If suppose he goes also for one particular path, then coming back from that path is also very difficult, right? Because one path leads to another path, that we have seen already in the beginning. So he has to go and travel till the end of that route, what is there in that particular direction, where whatever he is going to choose. So he says that firstly I'm observing that which side I should go. Like in the same way, when the choices comes in your life, you also think about it first, and very you can say it as nicely, you compare both the things, and then you come up to the conclusion that yes, this I will take and that I will drop, right? So the same way the poet is also in the same situation, and he is very much keen to know and observe that which choice will be good for me, because that is going to make all the difference in my life. Now let's see some literally device in this particular poem. As you can see, first is rhyming scheme. The rhyme scheme we understand with the help of the words which come at the end of every line. So here, what are the words at the end of every line? Let me highlight it. This is would, then both, stood, could, and undergrowth. Now you might have noticed that there are some words which sounds the same and some which sounds different, right? So which are those words which sound firstly same, starting with the first line? So there is any word which sounds same with the word would? Definitely stood and could. So all these three will have the same alphabetical order given to. So I'll give this as A, this also A, because both have the same sound, and this also is going to be A. Now as after it, what comes after A? What comes? B, right? So now let's see the next line where I have no sound which matches to would. So that is first both. So I'll give this B, and then what word which matches to both? That is undergrowth. So here also B. So I can say I have a rhyming scheme as A, B, A, B. Okay. So this will continue throughout the poem. And now next time I'll ask it to you. So let's see what is the another poetic device which we can search over here is. So as you can see, there is a word and repeated several times, and in the beginning of the lines. I'm talking about the beginning of the line. There are three lines, line 2, 3, and 4 starts with the same word and. So that is called anaphora. Whenever you have the same word in the beginning of two or three lines, that is called as not repetition, that is anaphora, because this the second line, third line, and fourth line, all the three lines starts with the same word, so that is the reason it is anaphora. Now what else is? That is road. This road is a you can say it as is actually a symbolism. These two roads are the two choices, or you can say it as are the choices which have been shown by the poet in the poem. Now let's see clearly in the next slide. Now you can see the literary device of the previous stanza. As I said, rhyming scheme is A B A A B. Then symbolism you have is two roads diverge, or you can say it as the two roads which represents two or more choices in our life. Definitely these two roads are symbolizing, means is a symbol of, so is a symbol of decisions or the choices which you make in your life. Then you have anaphora. So anaphora is all about repeated, means the word and is being repeated in the beginning of, as I said, second line, third line and fourth line. So that is the reason it is anaphora. If suppose the word and is repeated in between, so that is not the part of anaphora. Anaphora, for calling it as anaphora, then it should be repeated in the beginning of the lines, right? Two lines, three lines, whatever, so that will be called as anaphora. So now let's move on to the next stanza. Now I have stanza number 2. Here it is written, then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as far that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So here what this stanza says is, as we have seen in the previous stanza, that the poet is having two roads in front of him, that is the two choices which he has to make, and he was totally confused and he is observing actually that which route he should go for and which choice he should take. So the second stanza tells that the poet took the other just as fair. So he decided to take the other one as a fair. Fair means as good as other one. So he thinks that this is going to be his fair decision, as good as he could take. And having perhaps the better claim, the word claim is better option, and he thinks that that would be going to be a better option for him. So let's see which one he decided to choose. Because it was grassy and wanted wear. So there were two roads diverged in yellow woods. So he decided to take that road which had not been traveled by the people. So had not been used, unused road. Now you might be thinking how you can say that is unused road. So you have might went through those grassy paths. So if you will travel on those grassy paths, so definitely that grasses will be destroyed by the footprints, right? But if the route where there is also the grassy path but not traveled by anyone, so that will not be destroyed, right? So that is the reason he wanted to take that road which is not traveled by anyone. So the word grassy, to you already know, sorry, the word grassy is unused, which is unused, and wanted wear is had not been used. So ultimately both mean the same only. Though as far that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So here definitely why he says that it is wanted wear means not used, because the other route has definitely being used by the passengers and they have walked through it, and that is the reason it is being used by them. So he decided not to take that route which is already explored, that what is there in that path. He wanted to go for something adventurous and something different. So he decided to choose which that route which was not traveled by anyone. So let's see what is the poetic. Can you tell the poetic devices in this particular stanza? So let's go first of all with rhyme scheme. As I said, last word. You have fair, claim, wanted. Sorry, you have wanted where. So it's going to be this is where, then there, then you have same. So you might have noticed the word fair rhymes with where and there. So again same, I'll give a, a and a. Then claim, same rhymes together. So that is b, b. So you can say the poetic device, the literary device or the poetic device both are same only. But here it is rhyme scheme, that is a, b, a, b. Okay. Now let's move on to something else if we can find over here. So now you might have noticed that we have alliteration also over here. What is alliteration? Now you might be thinking. So alliteration is when you have two words in the same line and just close to each other and starts with the same word, creating the same sound. So that is called as alliteration. So what is alliteration over here? I can say is wanted, where. So they both are close to each other in the same line and starts with W. So wanted, where. Is there any other word which you can find over here? Is that, there, right? TH, TH. So anything else which you can get as? Okay, you think. Now let's move on to the next slide and find that your answer is correct or not. So we have the, you can say it as the poetic devices over here. As I said, rhyme scheme we have is AB, AAB, the same rhyme scheme. Then as I said, alliteration also we have, that is wanted, where, right? So W, W sound is repeated. Then we found one more over there, that was that and there, starts with TH and TH sound. So I can say T sound is being repeated. So this is also the part of alliteration. I hope it is clear to you. Now thank you so much for watching the video. Now we'll meet again in the next video with rest 2 stanzas.